as a lot of people's mums will tell you, playing too many video games will rot your brain. That's probably true of quite a few games out there, at least if it comes at the expense of getting your homework done, or if you're playing Drawn to Death. But what if video games could combine the two, education and play together at the same time? That's what Ubisoft are trying to do with Discovery Tour by Assassin's Creed, which is coming as part of a free title update next week on the 20th of February. If there's one blockbuster AAA game series out there that is most likely to teach you something, it's almost certainly Assassin's Creed. As it's leapt from one historical setting to another, we've visited the time of the Third Crusade, we've explored Renaissance Italy, the American and French revolutions, Victorian London, and now ancient Egypt. In order to let them tell you their stories, Ubisoft obviously takes some liberties with the certain aspects of these settings and the characters that you meet, not to mention how far you can fall into a bale of hay without suffering terminal injuries, but the starting point always has to be an historical fact. A huge amount of research goes into these games, so for Assassin's Creed Origins and its ancient Egyptian setting, they'll have been looking at getting the clothing right, the size of the towns and the cities, that all of the fruits on the trees would be appropriate for the era, and that the pyramids were realistically decaying. The list goes on and on and on, and it's a testament to their research that just as the game was released, a secret and previously undiscovered chamber was actually found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. That room was already in the game. It's an accuracy that has seen Assassin's Creed be used as an example in historical studies by professors, and it's also been featured in history magazines on a couple of occasions. However, this was always more of a happy byproduct of the work that Ubisoft had done. With Assassin's Creed Origins, they're making a much more deliberate and concerted effort to take all of this historical research that they had done and turning it into something that people could use directly for educational purposes. So Discovery Tour is coming as a completely free update to Origins, as simply another side to the game that you can explore. Alternatively, it will be up for sale separately on PC. Within Discovery Tour are an impressive 75 tours that span all aspects of Ptolemaic Egyptian life, from exploring the daily routine of a regular Egyptian to the burial rituals of mummification, and even sharing and speculating around what we know about the Library of Alexandria. Just from playing the game for even an hour, I actually learnt things about this period that I never knew before. For example, little tidbits about how Alexandria sought to be a central pool of all knowledge, confiscating the books that visitors had on them, copying these books by hand, and then handing the copies back to their owners while keeping the originals for themselves. I mean, you don't get much more cheeky than that. Now, truth be told, this is something that you can find out simply by looking at Wikipedia, and it's quite a famous fact, but it's one that was new to me, and there are far more nuanced little nuggets of information that Discovery Tour offers up to you. It takes place in the game engine, letting you pick from a broad selection of character models to wander around Egypt as, whether you choose a small child, an Abstergo employee, Bayek, or even some of the antagonists in the game. You can ride animals, climb buildings, and do many of the things that are elsewhere in the main game, but all of the combat and the actual gameplay has been stripped out. This is purely about exploration within this trove of history. Taking a tour, you're guided along the path through a particular location with a number of stopping points along the way for stations that will then tell you something about the given topic and location. At each point you're given a certain viewpoint into a scene, there's voiceover text and the text to read for yourself, as well as a photographed source for this information or concept artwork from the team if that's more appropriate. Along the way there are also certain insights into the game's creation as well. The Library of Alexandria, to come back to this particular example, famously burned down and was eventually destroyed, but the exact timeline of its destruction is still a mystery. Its appearance in the game is merely a guess on what it could have looked like, but it's an educated one based off libraries in Turkey that have actually survived the ages and were very likely based off the design of Alexandria's library. In a nice touch, Ubisoft aren't even forcing you to be in the game to explore this historical database that they've created, and so you can avoid the walking around in favour of digging into the audio and text through the game's menus. The only real problem that I can see with this entire Discovery Tour is that it's ideally used as a teaching aid. In a blind test with one group of students taking a standard history lesson and another group of students playing through the same topic with the Discovery Tour, those playing the game didn't come out with quite as good results in the following test, but the passive learning that the game provided definitely helped them to pick up quite a lot of knowledge, and it could easily be used to supplement or augment a particular lesson plan that a teacher has. But then you've got to ask yourself, how many schools have got 30 to 40 Xbox Ones or PlayStation 4s that kids can play on for half of a lesson? And even if you take them over to the PCs, schools don't usually have computers that are up to the task of gaming. I mean, when I was at school, admittedly, quite some time ago, we barely had computers from the same decade. Now, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but... oh wait, hold on, that was the Greeks and not the Egyptians, my mistake. But the barrier for Ubisoft might still be to actually get this research that they've done into the hands of those that want to learn from it or are best placed to do so. Of course, outside of the classroom, Discovery Tour by Assassin's Creed is shaping up to be a fantastic way to explore the game's setting and history. Ancient Egyptian history buffs will no doubt flock to try it out and see what Ubisoft have dug up and created. But even for those with a more casual interest, this is still a wonderful and actually really quite engaging way to explore Egypt without having to worry about soldiers hassling you or who your next assassination target is. Thanks for checking out this video, and don't forget the Discovery Tour is out next week on the 20th of February. It is free, so if you've got Assassin's Creed Origins, you might as well check it out. Before you go though, please do like, subscribe, and perhaps come and visit us over on thesixthaxis.com. Hopefully we will see you again sometime soon. Goodbye!